Okay, hello everyone. So today we are going to be making sourdough banana bread. I have my recipe right here. This is from Farmhouse and Boone. I will put the link for that down in the description for the original recipe. So first we're going to gather ingredients. I have mine over here. I'm going to list them off for you. We're going to need melted butter. Mine is currently in the oven right now. We're going to need brown sugar, 3 bananas, 2 large eggs. We're going to need some sourdough discard, and we are going to need some vanilla, flour, baking soda, baking powder, and salt. So all of mine is already over here. And so first off, we're going to start off with the dry ingredients. I'm going to go get those. I will be right back. Okay, so I'm back. I have the ingredients, so I have all the dry stuff. And so something else you're going to need is you're going to need your mixer. I have a KitchenAid one, and you're going to want to make sure your dough hook is in. Mine is already in. I got that in earlier. And you're going to want to make sure that it's secure so that it doesn't go flying off. Okay, now we are going to start with flour first. So we are going to need 2 cups flour. Okay, so I'm going to go off of this. This measuring cup in here is already 1 cup. So I'm just going to add 2 of these. And make sure you push the excess off. So now that that's done, I'm going to put this away. Okay, so now we will be moving on to, we have our salt, baking soda, and baking powder. So I'm going to start off with the salt. We are going to need, I have mine right here, we have a teaspoon. This is 1 teaspoon of salt. I have my salt in this cute little thing. So just going to get a teaspoon. And put that right on in, and then we're going to put this away. Okay, and now we're going to do the same thing with baking powder and soda. So we're going to get 1 teaspoon of the baking soda. Gotta make sure I don't mix these up. So we're going to get 1 teaspoon of this. Mine's a little lumpy and kind of got some, I don't know what these are. Just make sure you sift that out. Mine has a little built-in sifter right here. So and then we're going to do something baking powder, except for we are going to get 2 teaspoons of this. So go ahead and put that in. And I'm going to set this to the side, and then we are going to combine this for just a little bit, just till everything is nice and mixed together, and then we will put in some of the wet ingredients. Okay, so once you have your dry ingredients combined, you are going to get your melted butter and your brown sugar. Mine's right here, okay? So now what you need is you need a 1/2 cup of this melted butter. This is still hot, so I'm going to use gloves for this. And you are just going to pour this in, your mixed dry ingredients. I'm going to get a little of this. There we go. Okay, and then you're going to take your brown sugar, and now you will need 1 cup of this brown sugar. Mine's right here. I have this little measuring thing in it. I'm going to set this aside for now. And so now I have a 1/2 cup for measuring cup for this, because my cup measuring cup 1 cup measuring cup does not fit in this. So I'm just gonna go ahead and use this, and this is gonna take a while, so I will meet y'all back whenever I get done doing this. Okay, and I do not know if I told you all this or not, but you are gonna wanna get your oven, mine is already on, set to 350. And you're going to want to get a 9x5 loaf pan, and just put some butter in it. This is what mine looks like. It doesn't have to be pretty. I'm not sure if this is 9x5, but this is the closest we have. So go ahead and do that while you're waiting for this to mix. Okay, so once your batch of So once your butter and brown sugar is all mixed with your dry ingredients, okay, you're gonna put everything else in. So I am using, the recipe calls for 3 bananas. I'm only using 2 because I will be putting in some blueberries. So if you're putting in blueberries like I am, take away a banana or half of a banana, and just so it's not as mushy whenever you make it. Okay, and now we will also be adding sourdough starter. Make sure you drain the hooch off of this. I already drained mine off just a little bit. I'm not going to drain that. Okay, so I drained mine. I need a spoon for this. Okay, so I'm going to get my half cup of this in here. This will take me a bit. I'm gonna be right back. Okay, so I got this. This is the half cup of the sourdough starter. I got that out. Took me a bit. And now I'm gonna take a spoon so I can get this actually out of here. And you're just gonna put that in along with everything else. So I'm gonna put in the bananas now. You can use either ripe or very dark bananas. It really doesn't matter. And I will be right back. Okay, so I got them peeled. Mine are still very mushy because they are very old. But if you're using ripe bananas, you're gonna go ahead and mush them with a fork in a bowl or some sort of blender. Don't blend them, but just enough so they can be mushed, if that makes sense. And then you're just gonna put them in. Okay, so now that's done, I'm gonna do about a cup of berries, of these blueberries, because that's about how much one banana is. Okay, so I got that. I'm gonna put a little bit more in. There we go. And then you're just gonna add this. And now you can add in other things, pecans, any sort of nut you want to put in. I chose blueberries because I just need to get them used up and out of the freezer. And so now you're going to do your eggs. Okay, you're going to need 2 large eggs. I don't have 2 large eggs. These are as large as I could find. So we're just going to crack them and put them in. Okay, and so now the last ingredient I need to put in is the vanilla. So I'm going to go ahead and add that. And then after this, you will be done and you'll move on to the mixing process. I'm going to put this in. And it's okay if it overflows. It's not going to be the end of the world. Okay, now I'm going to mix all this stuff. Now all the wet ingredients will be in with the dry ingredients. Now you have to be very careful with this, and you cannot overmix it or else it will be not good. So just be careful not to overmix it. Okay, so I just got this mixed. this is kind of what it looks like. Kind of looks a little funny on camera, but that really doesn't matter. So now we will pour into the greased pan. Mine has butter in it, but you can use really anything. The recipe calls for butter, so I'm just using butter. And we will pour this in to the pan, and then it will go in the oven. Okay, so I have it poured into a pan now, and so we are going to put this in the oven for 50 to 60 minutes. And so now around the 50-minute mark, you are going to want to check on it with either a toothpick or some sort of cake tester or something like that to see if it's done or not. If not, put it back in for another 10 minutes. So yeah, we will check back in whenever this is done. Okay, so it has been 50 minutes. I believe mine is most likely done. I have a toothpick here. I'm going to do this, and it's a little wet still. Yeah, so mine is not done. It is still gooey, so I'm going to put it in for another 10 minutes, and we will be back in 10 minutes. Okay, so this is finally done. It took about an extra 15 minutes, so I put it in for the required 60 minutes, and then put it in for about an extra 16, 15-ish minutes. So once you have this out of the oven, and you can do the toothpick check and make sure it's all dry in there, you're going to want to let this sit for about an hour-ish, and then you can bring it out and cut it up and serve it. And yeah, so we'll be back in about an hour, and I'll show you what it looks like cut. Okay, so it has been an hour. This has cooled down significantly. So now I'm going to take it out with this, and I'll put on this wire rack here that I have. Hopefully this comes out. Okay, so I have this plastic knife here. I'm just gonna move around the edges a bit, try to get it up. There we go, that's better. Oh, this piece already came out. Oh, that's out. Okay, it's really stuck to the bottom. I'm trying to get it. Okay, got a real knife now. Hopefully this will work better than that plastic one. Set that aside. Okay, almost there. And there it goes. Voila, and there it is. Let me remove this. Try to flip this up. Okay, and there you have banana strawberry bread made from scratch. And now mine's still pretty warm, so go ahead and let this sit for a little bit longer, but I will be cutting into it in a minute, so yeah. Okay, and here's what it looks like whenever it's done. Here's one of the slices. So this is the banana blueberry bread recipe. We're gonna taste some of this now. I'm gonna cut another one of this, and let me know what y'all think of this. This turned out really good.